Let's go roll right now into our 5th annual EnjoyIllinois.com 225 NASCAR Camping World Series truck event here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. And our race runner-up put on a heck of a show out there tonight is Brad Keselowski. He drove the number 19 Draw Tight Ford. And, Brad, talk about that race. You were giving it all you had to try to catch that 51 truck, and but just another exciting night of Camping World Truck Series racing.
Sure. You know, I think this racing and this package for this track, grip conditions, tire, etc., seemed to really pair up well for a really strong race, or a race where you could see some great action. And so I guess first off, I'd like to commend those that put that group or put those pairings together, because running this race side by side, every restart, some pack race and some single race, and that's just something that I think is exceptional to watch. But from my view, or my place to sit, is exceptional to do. So I had a lot of fun with that, and so just kind of a little disappointed I didn't get to win, but I know we were close, and I know how far our team and company has come with the 19 team coming a long ways, and the 29 having a great run as well. So it was just a really solid night, just one spot short with both cars, but still a lot to be proud of.
Certainly is, and certainly one of your drivers joins you here. He came in third tonight. He's a Sunoco Rookie of the Year candidate, and that's Brian Blaney. He drove the number 29 Cooper Standard Ford for Brad Keselowski. And Ryan is currently 5th in points, having a heck of a season as a rookie. And talk about your run out there this evening at Chicago.
Yeah, first of all, I was trying to help Brad out as much as I could there, trying to gang up on Kyle a little bit, and I just couldn't hang with him. The later the run got, I kept getting really tight, but solid night, really. We didn't qualify great, qualified 15th, and worked our way up there pretty quickly. And we had really good strategy in the pits to come in early and get fuel, and we were kind of off sequence with most people on most occasions, and that definitely played into our advantage. So pretty proud of my team at BKR, and two Brad Keselowski racing trucks in the top 3, and really fighting for the win. So that I think that speaks a lot for our team. So we'll go back and just find out how to make us that one spot better.
Take questions now for these two drivers. We'll start with Reed and then go to Jenna.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Brad, did the brush with the wall hurt your truck? It sure didn't look like it at the end, but I just wanted to check and see. And also, when that incident happened, somebody tweeted that Ty Dillon might be able to use a spotter. Do you agree with that?
I might be able to use a spotter? Oh, well, I don't know. Who is this spotter, do you know? Billy? Oh. I don't know much about Billy, but Harvick's fine. I don't know him very well, but I will say that it looks a lot easier on TV than it is. Whether that's from a spotter's perspective, that's a really hard view to see if someone's beside you or not, the way you're looking at it, and also from a driver's perspective, the way that the trucks drive, once they start sliding on corner exit, you can't stop it. So even if you do know somebody's outside at the last minute, you can't do anything about it. So I knew I'd gotten there pretty late, and obviously I could have stayed in it and wrecked both of us, but in the end we made slight contact, and I don't think it was that harmful to my truck. Certainly anytime you hit the wall, it's probably not going to help it. I actually felt like when Kyle came in and knocked my left front fender off, that was probably more harmful. But, that's just part of it.
Let's go to Jenna and then over to Stanley.
Brad, if you could talk about running side-by-side for so long with Kyle, what that was like. Fun?
Yeah.
And then also, if both of you could talk about just a really equal, even night for Brad Keselowski Racing and what it takes to get there, and I guess what it means for the organization.
Sure. Absolutely. Running side-by-side is always a blast. It's a good reminder of why the sport has rose as it has, with action on the track. I think that's something we can be proud of, and it shows to me as well. I know there's been a lot of questions, especially on the Cup side, that it's possible for race cars to run side by side on 1.5 miles. You just have to put the right package together. So it's fun, obviously, as a driver, I guess, to answer your question, to compete side by side like that, and just looking for that one little break, to clear the guy, and knowing that if one thing goes wrong, you're going to wreck. That you really know you're on the edge when you do that, and that's what race car driving or being a race car driver is supposed to be like. But I guess to answer your second question, I've been really happy with how things have come together lately with the truck effort. I think Ryan's had a shot of really winning probably the last 3 or 4 races. Had a few mechanical issues, which was kind of a letdown. I feel bad about that over the last 2, but obviously had a really strong truck leading at Iowa and running out of gas, and then being up front with some suspension failures in Canada. But the 19 truck led a bunch of laps in Iowa with Ross Chastain, and that was really great to see. I was happy for him and the team, but I think a lot of it comes from just keeping our head down, digging. We're certainly not the highest funded team because there's only a certain amount I'm willing to lose and a certain amount I can convince sponsors to give me. But we're fighting hard to make the most of it, and the help that we're getting along the way from Penske Racing has certainly helped that. So progress for sure.
Let's go over here to Stan, and then to Kenny, and then this gentleman right here.
All right, Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Brad, over those final 10 laps, it looked like you used up just about anything and everything that your truck had to offer you at that time. In the process of doing that, do you have that thought in the back of your mind and what it might be, what you could have used that might have turned it into a checkered flag instead of a second-place finish?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've got a pretty good idea of what I needed. We're a tiny bit off on the balance of the truck the last run, and obviously, Kyle got beside me and ran me up the racetrack and knocked the fender off. So, that just all kind of compacted there, and we could have maybe caught a yellow or some kind of break like that. That was what I was really hoping for, a chance for things to cool off and go. But, it was still great racing and an effort to be proud of and a race to be proud of as a fan and a competitor.
Go to Kenny, far left.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. 2 questions, one for each. Ryan, can you kind of talk about what you've seen as far as the improvement of the organization through this year? And for Brad, you mentioned finances and sponsorship. Just how much of a disadvantage is your organization at right now compared to some of the teams such as Kyle out there?
Well, I think you definitely look at where we were and where we were finishing in the beginning of the year and how good we've been over the past 2 or 3 months. We've had a chance to win about 6 or 7 races here, and things just haven't played out, whether it be mechanical failures or just racing. But I'm really happy with how much we've learned and how much support Ford and Penske Racing has given us to be able to learn like we have and really excel. And I think really that we can be a top 5 team every single week in both trucks. And tonight really showed, both of us being really strong. And Iowa last week we were very strong also. So I'm really happy with the progress we've made. I think we just need to find a little bit more to go out there and beat the Kyle Bushes and Brad Keselowski's. So.
To answer your question, Kenny, about funding, it's very difficult. And I think you look at the team owners in the Truck Series, and the majority of such are independently wealthy and willing to invest and lose money. I don't have that ability. Every dime I've made off of racing and as a driver. So, the sponsorship costs that it takes to run this series competitively, somewhere around probably $3 to $4 million, is not something you're going to be able to generate from a sponsor. So, it's hard for me to close that gap personally. And there comes a limit of how much you can do, and I think at times we probably could look to funding and say that it would be better if we could show direct results with it. But the reality is, there's a lot of areas that we can be better that don't require funding, and that's what I work on every day with my people to try and find that next piece that's not from spending more money, but from working harder and smarter. And I think they're starting to really grasp that concept. And I know it sounds cheesy to say that teamwork is the component that produces that, but it really is. You know, they're working better as a team, whether it's the two teams together or with different vendors or even within themselves. So I'm really proud of that. The truck team is such an important effort for me personally. You know, along the way, I say a lot of things and sometimes get myself in a lot of trouble and have some strong opinions. And a lot of people ask me, or will, I shouldn't say ask me, but will tell me that I've, you know, haven't earned that right to do so or haven't been around as long as Jeff Gordon or done things like Jimmy Johnson or you name your driver. But to me, obviously winning a championship is validation and makes me feel better about saying those things. But owning a team and reinvesting in the sport, which is something the majority of those people don't do, makes me feel like I have a spot in the sport and have the right to a louder voice. And that's why team ownership in this series is so important to me, personally and professionally.
Let's go to this gentleman right here. You done? Anybody else? Jenna?
You're getting tired of finishing second?
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun, but you know this is the most fun you can have finishing second. We've been right there. This particular race, second was probably where I deserved to finish on the last run, but there's been a lot of races where that hasn't been the case. But eventually, it's got to turn your way, and you know I always feel like when I'm driving a race car, and people outside the sport don't really understand this, but I'm part of a team, and I might get a lot of credit, but it takes the whole thing to come together. And there are weekends where I've run my best race ever, and we might run 10th or 15th, and then there are weekends where you know, I might win or finish second and look back on the race or the weekend and say, well, that wasn't my best effort, but you know, the team carried me. We just haven't put all those pieces together. When we've had a great truck, I've made small little mistakes. We had a great truck today. I think I made a handful of small mistakes. And there's been times where I feel like I've ran great races, whether it's in the truck, nationwide, or the Cup, and we just haven't had the car. And that's kind of been the case over the course of the year, where we just haven't always been in sync. And when we do that, when we get in sync, whether it's the car, myself, pit crew, whatever component that might be, I feel like we'll go on a tear and win a lot of races. You look at our nationwide team, and it's in sync. And it's showing, you know, with winning, I think, 5 out of the last 6 and finishing first and second, and the other races, out of the last 7. So I just have to get in sync, and then we'll get wins, whether it's in this series, Cup, or whatnot.
Anything else? Well, Brad and Ryan, thanks for putting on a great show this evening.
Yes, thank you,
And,
Kerry.
Good luck the rest of the
Go
weekend.
get some rest.